everyone, welcome to Techation Academy. In this video, we are going to be talking about the CSS display property. The display property is an important CSS property for controlling layouts. It specifies whether an HTML element is treated as block or an inline element. Let's proceed. So the CSS property displays property. Every HTML element has a default display value depending on what type of element it is. The default display value for most elements is block or inline. It's always basically like that. So the display property is used to change the default display behavior of an element. We have the block level element and the inline element. A block level element always starts on a new line and takes up the full width available. It stretches out to the left and the right as far as it can. So the P element is an example of block level element. So we have block element. A div is a block level element. A P tag is a block level element. But you see an anchor tag that we use for link is an inline element. Span is an inline element. What are inline elements? Inline element does not start on a new line and only takes up as much width as necessary. This is an inline element inside the paragraph. Let's move to the next part. We have common display values. The CSS display property has many values. The following table lists the most common used, the one they use mostly. So we have the inline block, content, flex, grid, inline block, and none. So for the inline displays an element as an inline element. The block displays as a block element. The content makes the container disappear, makes its child elements, children of the element, and the next level up in the DOM. We have the flex, display an element as block level flex container. We have the grid, displays an element as block level grid container. We have the inline block, displays an element as an inline block container. The element itself is formatted as an inline element, but you can apply height, width, padding, and margin values. And then we have none. The element is completely hidden for the document flow, and it does not take up any space. Let's move to the next one. So we have the CSS display none. I feel like, okay, when we get to this, we can start working on an example with this CSS display none. When using a display none, the element is completely hidden from the document flow and does not take up any space. It is commonly used with JavaScript to hide or show elements without deleting and recreating them. So click to show an hidden panel. We have example, how to use CSS and JavaScript to show an hidden element on a click. And example 2, how to use CSS and JavaScript to toggle between show and hidden on a click element. So let's create our example so far. We'll come here, we'll come to our HTML page. Then the first thing we are going to do, we are going to create a P tag. Oh no, not here. The first thing we are going to do, we are going to, let's move this up. We're going to create a P tag and we are going to say click to show. So we want to use to show panel. We want to use JavaScript here. Then inside this one, we'll give it class. The class name will be flip. Then we are going to be making use of we're going to be making use of JavaScript in this place. So we'll come here, we'll say on click. No, I'm using React equals to, we'll have my function. Then that is it. Then after that, we're going to have a div. We'll say div. Then inside this div, we'll give it an ID name, which is equals to panel. Then inside this div, we would have a P tag, which will say this panel contains a div element, which is hidden by default. Then we'll give it brackets, which is display none. Display none. Then after that, we can give it a P tag and say we will use JavaScript. We will use JavaScript to show it, which will be display block. Display block. Then we can have another P tag saying, I am trying this with JavaScript. Then after the script, after this, we're going to create a script which is for JavaScript. We are going to write our JavaScript function, and we will say function, which is my function. Then inside is my function, we will say document dot get elements by ID panel. And we want to style it as a block level element. So that is that. This is the JavaScript. Then we'll come to our CSS, and because we are using ID, ID is always in hash. So say hash panel, comma, dot flip, because we are making use of flip to here. We are giving both of them a value. So we'll say padding should be 10 pixel. We would as well say text align should be center. We'll give it a background color. Let it be blue. Then we can say the color of the, we can say the color of the text should be white. Then margin, which will be auto. Then we can say cursor. Our cursor should be pointer. Then after that, we'll say hash. So we'll say hash panel, and it will display none. So let's check our work. So when we click on it, it will show us our results. But for now, it will be display hidden. So let's see. Can you see we don't have the text now? Let's click on it. Now it has shown our text. So this panel contains a div element, which is this display. So we just created an example with show hidden, and when we click an event, it will bring it out. Now let's go to the next example. How to use CSS and JavaScript to toggle between show and hidden on a click element. Let's go. So where we have it here, we'll just come here, we'll say slash show and hide. So if we want to show and hide it, we can say click to show and hide panel. That works. Then what else again? We're going to come here, we'll change it to, which is, this panel contains a div element, which is to show and hide a div element. Then we can remove this display none. And in this place, we can remove it and say we use JavaScript to open and close the div element. So come to our function here. We've already created my function. The next thing we are going to do is we'll say var, we are creating a x equals to document dot get elements by ID. Document dot get element by ID panel. So we say if x, now we've given panel as value x. So we are referring to this panel. If this panel dot style dot display is equals to none, display it as a block level element. Else, display it as none. I'm sure some of you are familiar with JavaScript. If you've done JavaScript before, we have more of our courses about JavaScript, and you can go and check on them to know more about them. So this is what we just did. Now we already created our JavaScript function. Now we'll come to our style. What do we need to do? We already have panel, which is flip. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to give it a border, which will be let's say 2px solid red. Then we are going to come here and give our cursor. Our cursor should be auto this time around. Now let's check what we have out. So in this aspect, we can click to show, we can click to hide, click to show, click to hide. I hope you understand. This is just easy with just JavaScript function. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you understand this example that I've taught you so far. Please do well to follow us across all social chats, Css Academy. See you next time. Bye.